Hello, and welcome to our webinar on getting your property ready for the summer season. I'm Emil Gustafsson, and I work as Market Team Manager in Booking.com's Stockholm office.
And I'm Magnus Magnusson, also a Market Team Manager based here in Reykjavik, Iceland.
So in this webinar, we're going to show you how you can increase your bookings during the busy summer season. As we get closer to the peak period, travelers are preparing their summer holidays by looking and booking their perfect summer stays. And this means that the Booking.com platform is seeing a seasonal spike in traffic, searches, and in bookings. So during this webinar, we're going to give you everything that you need to know in order to leverage this opportunity. We'll focus on how you can make your property more visible on our platform through adding availability, help you stand out from the competition with attractive and competitive pricing, and show you how you can improve your presence on Booking.com with your property listing. Now, the summer period is a key moment in the year for our accommodation partners in the Northern Hemisphere, with many of our partners making the majority of their income during April to September. So it's crucial to make sure that your property is properly set up in order to attract travelers when they're choosing their accommodations on our platform, just so you don't miss out on any bookings. This webinar will also help you tap into summer demand and grow your bookings by being visible and setting yourself apart from other properties. So keep watching to get insights on region-specific traveler behavior, tips on how to cater to seasonal traveler trends, and how to add specific product and features directly in the extranet. Now, if you don't have time to watch the full webinar right now, you can always save it to your account by clicking the three dots at the bottom of this video, and then click Save to Watch Later.
Thank you very much, Emil. So right now, the travel industry is witnessing the return of people's strong desire to travel again. And it's been very encouraging to see such strength and resilience in the demand that's already come in. It would not be a stretch to say that this demand is indicative of the confidence that travelers have, yet again, to experience the world. According to our industry insights, more than 3/4 of travelers report that travel will always be worth it to them. And we are certainly seeing that here at Booking, as globally early searches for summer have increased over 38% compared to last year. This strong demand shows an ongoing desire for travelers to share those special moments with family, friends, and even strangers. However, when looking at month-to-month travel trends, they can look a little bit volatile, as we of course recognize that there is uncertainty regarding the future in the global economy. And due to this global economic uncertainty, travelers in 2023 are going to be more conscious of how to make the most of their travel budget, with 63% of them reporting that they plan on budgeting their trips more tightly, either by taking advantage of deals and or being smarter about which periods they choose to travel. Over half of them, 53%, will look to save money by considering either off-season destinations or taking longer and often cheaper routes to get there. With this uptick in travel demand, it means that you're going to have more eyes on your property listing. And over the course of this video, we're going to go over the basics of availability, pricing, and your property page, as well as how to tailor all of these based on more localized insights. We'll also show you how to make these changes directly in the extranet all by yourself.
So firstly, and most importantly, let's go over how you can increase your visibility on the Booking.com platform. Now, in a nutshell, your property needs to be visible to potential guests when searching for stays and to attract early bookers. And it can only be visible if you've added available dates. So if you haven't added any availability or prices, your property won't show up when guests search for accommodations in your location. So in essence, the more available rooms you display, the more travelers you can appeal to and thus increase your chances of being booked. Now, travelers around the world are already well into planning and booking their summer holidays, and we do see slightly lengthened booking windows and an early summer demand on our platform, which points to a potentially very strong summer ahead. So do add availability well in advance to ensure that guests who are searching right now will be able to book your property for future stays later in the summer. And you can update your availability in the extranet under Rates and Availability tab by going to your calendar. You can toggle the drop-down on the right-hand side to select List View or Monthly View based on your preference. Remember to also load prices for any dates that you have opened so that potential guests can not only see, but also book those rooms or units. Now, when we look at the length of stays guests are searching for right now, we know that around 1/3 of early searches are for shorter breaks of 1 to 2 days. But mid-length stays of 3 to 7 days remain the most popular choice, with around half of the total search volume. Longer stays of 8 days or more, they make up just about 14% of our early searches. So you should expect to see a higher demand for short length stays throughout the season as last minute bookings do become more frequent. Now, if you want more control over your bookings, you could of course set up restrictions to make sure travelers can't book for shorter or longer than you'd like, or with too much or too little notice. Once again, this is based on your preference and what fits your property. But do keep in mind that the stricter restriction you use, the fewer people will be able to see your property. So do use them sparingly. Now, to add or adjust any restrictions, you can go to the Rates and Availability tab in the extranet and select Calendar. There, you can tick the restriction box and you can select the conditions that you want to set and that fits your property.
So you might be wondering, what can I do to stand out from the competition? Well, one surefire way is by taking a look at your pricing. Setting a competitive rate can help you set yourself apart from other properties in your area and ultimately attract more guests. And if you're unsure what price to offer, if you go into the Analytics tab of the extranet, you will find all sorts of tools that are going to help you benchmark yourself against the market. You can look at everything from your current performance, comparing year-on-year sales, down to seeing how far guests book in advance and at what price. You might also want to consider offering discounts for specific periods or specific types of guests, but we'll go into those options in a few minutes. Right now, I'm going to be showing you how to make these changes in the extranet. So you can add, edit, or remove your rate plans by simply going to the Rates and Availability tab in the extranet and then clicking on Rate Plans, and then selecting Add a New Rate Plan, or click on an existing one and then select Edit or Delete to your liking. Let's now take a look at the specific insights for your region in order to help you to decide which traveler segments you should be targeting, as well as give you some tips on how exactly to do this. So, as Emil mentioned earlier, around 50% of travelers are looking for stays of 3 to 7 days, with the longer stays of 8 or more only making up around 14% of the searches. So to increase your visibility among guests searching for longer stays, or to encourage guests to stay longer, you could add a weekly or even a monthly rate. This means that travelers who, for instance, search for stays of 7 nights or more would be able to see and book at a discounted rate, of course, in exchange for staying longer. Yet again, you can very simply set up this rate plan in the extranet under the Rates and Availability tab, and then Rate Plans. You would then click Add a New Rate, and then choose Weekly or Monthly Rate, and voila.
Thank you, Magnus. Now, offering different kinds of prices and targeted prices per segment can also help to attract different types of travelers and group sizes, and it will also help maximize your property's visibility in search results. Now, we're seeing that almost 1/3 of early searches globally are made by families, but couples are still a key segment too. Now, families often book far in advance with stay dates usually around the school holidays in July and August, and this group also tends to stay longer and spend more money. So catering to this segment will ensure your rooms are filled for longer during this summer. And that brings us to child rates. Now, child rates allows travelers to specify the number and ages of children. They can see room details and occupancy-specific pricing, and this could really help you appeal to families. So, in order to add child rates, please go to the Property tab in the extranet, where you can click Policies, and then scroll down to find Child Policies. Once there, then you select the options that fit your property. Then moving on to the next part. So considering that most travelers around the world are no longer facing travel restrictions anymore, we do expect to see more bookings from international travelers. International searches currently make up 67% of our early searches, and that's an increase already by 10% compared to last year. Now, according to 2023 travel predictions, half of global travelers want to experience a complete culture shock in 2023 by traveling somewhere with completely different cultural experiences and languages, or exploring lesser known cities with hidden gems that aren't already on their radar. Now, to appeal to these international travelers, you can use something we call country rates, and that is to offer special prices to travelers in countries where you particularly want to target them. So you can activate country rates in the extranet under the Promotions tab. Just click on Choose New Promotion, scroll down to find country rates, and then there you go. One more thing to highlight here is that international travelers also want to know if they'll be able to communicate freely with you and your staff. So please do make sure to remember to add all the languages spoken at your property to your listing. And that you can do in the extranet as well in the Property tab under Facilities and Services. Now, lastly, considering the current economic climate, we do expect travelers to be a bit more mindful of how they make the most of their travel budget. So according to the 2022 Global Traveler Survey, 61% of travelers will be planning travel further in advance in the hope of securing a better price. And 63% are planning to take advantage of favorable rates, deals, and smartly timed travel to ensure that they get the most bang for their buck. Now, offering deals or special rates can help attract the more financially savvy travelers this summer season. And in order to do so, then you visit the Promotions tab in the extranet and click on Choose New Promotions. And here you can add a deal or customize the discounts that you offer to specific markets.
So let's now discuss how to convert those searches into actual bookings. Your property listing, which is what travelers see when browsing the Booking.com platform, is your chance to showcase your property and entice guests to book with you. That is why it's so important to make sure that your property page is as attractive as possible to make sure that those lookers become bookers. And you can attract more guests by making your property's content more relevant for their needs and their preferences. So to start, you want to make sure that your content, such as photos, reviews, facilities, is all up to date to help you stand out to travelers when they're looking for that perfect accommodation. One important factor is to include complete details about your facilities to make sure that the guests find what they're looking for. And although descriptions on your property page are automatically generated, you can make changes to your facilities, room details, and location, as well as correct any inaccurate information in the extranet under the Property tab. Now, coming back to traveler types, with the increase in searches by families this year, check whether your property is actually appealing to this segment. Now, this can mean simply adding photos of child-friendly rooms, nearby attractions, or family-appropriate amenities in your description. And for summer, yes, they want to know if you have the facilities that are in higher demand for those warmer months. So be sure to tell your guests how close your property is to the beach, or let them know if you have a rooftop terrace or air conditioning. And you can do all this in the extranet under the Property tab in Facilities and Services. Moving on to sustainability. According to 2023 travel predictions, almost half of global travelers want their travel experiences to have a more back to basics feel, and they're looking for more off-grid style vacations to get that escape from reality. And our research shows that guests will be much more likely to book an accommodation if it has sustainability practices in place. The good news is that we're sure that many of you already have plenty of these practices already in place at your properties. So why not make sure that the world knows about it? So if you go into the property section of the extranet and you choose sustainability practices, you can mark which specific ones you've already adopted. Once you've done that, we will add a travel sustainable badge to your property page, and then guests can even filter on just properties that are sustainable.
Thank you, Magnus. And that brings us to the next segment, which is guest reviews. Now, guest reviews define how potential guests see your property, and they are a top criteria used by travelers to narrow down their accommodation choices. So they are important for you to understand what guests liked about their stay, and they can give great insights as well on how to improve. Not only that, they've also been shown to increase guest confidence in booking on our platform. So I want to emphasize as well to make sure that you do reply to your guest reviews, both the positive and the not so positive ones, and to check in on them about once per week. And if you've made any changes to your property based on guest feedback, make sure to update your property page to reflect this change. Now, in terms of the guest reviews, you can reply to them in the guest reviews tab in the extranet. Just select guest reviews and then click reply next to the review that you would like to respond to. Now, one point to highlight here is that you can only reply to guests who have left a comment. And then finally, never underestimate the importance of adding photos to your listing. A good rule of thumb is to have a minimum of 5 high-quality photos that includes images of both the interior and the exterior of your property, as well as all areas that are available to guests. So seasonal photos and specific amenities like the swimming pool. And in order to add these, you do that in the extranet under the property tab and select photos. Now we're almost at the end of our webinar, but before we get there, we want to quickly recap the main points to make sure and help you take full advantage of the increase in demand and to grow your bookings this summer. So first off, load room availability to make sure that your property is visible to potential guests. Next, make sure that your price is right by looking at the available analytics and target specific traveler segments and types by tailoring your prices and property information. And then lastly, make sure that your property listing is attractive and relevant to convince travelers to book your property for their stay.
All right, well, that concludes our webinar on getting your property ready for the summer. We really hope that you found these tips useful. We will be continuing to share personalized advice, timely insights, and other relevant data throughout the 2023 peak season. That way, you make sure that you have the best guidance to get the most of this summer. So for more information on getting your property ready, be sure to have a look at our dedicated summer landing page on the Partner Hub, and that's where you can reread all the insights that we shared here whenever you want. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and we wish you a successful summer season.
Thank you.